Hello friends, you're with the Lonesome Gamer, and today I'm gonna play 18NL by Theo Jansma and Helmut Olay. And it is published by Marflow Games. I'm not sure if it is still available there, to be honest, but at least once it was published by Marflow. And this is a print and play version though. It says here, based on the 1830 rules adapted to the Netherlands, and that basically says it all. This is 1830 on a different map with a couple of extra tiles, a few more companies, and I think one more company actually. I think 1830 had 8. This one has, I think, 9. A couple of additional trains then, and of course different privates. So let's set it up. So let's take a quick look at what we have. And by the way, a disclaimer: whenever I do these games, I'm not going to go through the rules of 1830 in general. Just the differences, and in this game there are nearly none. So if you want more information about the rules, please either check my 1830 video or just watch some of the other videos out there. There are, well, quite a few by now. Okay, so what do we have? Of course, a bank, same size as 1830, 1200. We have 12,000 actually. We have, I think, 9 companies. Yeah, that's 9 companies here. A couple of additional trains, therefore, station markers. A map of the Netherlands. Market. And over here the tiles, and there are a couple of extra tiles here. We have X tiles, so these are kind of special for these 3 spaces. They become more valuable than the other, than your standard cities. They go up to 70. We have 1 Z tile, which goes up there in brown, which also goes up to 70. We got the double O's. You can upgrade dots to green here. And in yellow we have these curved cities. And I think this is pretty much it. I think the rest is pretty much identical to 1830. Of course, we got different private companies, so let's take a closer look at those. The Amsterdamse Omnibus Machapi. I hope I'm not sure if I do this right. It might be Machapai. I don't really know actually. It's probably Machapai, but I don't know. Okay, so this thing simply blocks this space here, and there is no, I think this is pretty much it. There is nothing special about. Oh yeah, you get an extra tile there with a 40 I don't even know what that is, florins or whatever, discount, so you get it a little cheaper. Then we have here the Gelders, oh boy, Overijsselsche Lokalspoorweg Machapai. Free token on field with a large town but without track in phase late token. So this gives you basically a teleport, and it blocks these 2 hexes here. Next we have De Veluwe, and A player owning the DV may exchange it for a 10% share of the NCS. Okay, this is... Where is that thing? It's here, next to the starting of the NCS. Then we come to the more expensive ones. The Lokalsporweg Machapai Enschede Oldenzaal. The initial purchaser of the EO immediately receives a 10% share of KNLS shares without further payment. Okay, that comes with a free share. So it is a little bit like the... Is it the Camden and Amboy? I think it is. But it's cheaper. But you get the company and an additional share. And it's, let's see where it's on the map. Number 4. Gosh. I can find all the others, but not the 4. Ah, it's back there. Look at that. There we go. So, number 5 is the Oude Lijn, Breedsborg. So basically you get a, this is your B&O basically. You get the presidency of the HMS without further payment, immediately set a par value, and if by the first train the private closes. And this thing is sitting right here. So I think this is also kind of a problem, because you start here, and if you want to build out here, you basically have to go here, which is blocked, right? So that means you cannot build, you cannot lay this tile in the first turn of the game, for example, because and this is often likely that these kind of companies will be started in the right from the beginning of the game, because the private is already, the presidency is already out there. So that means you kind of miss your first tile placement here, because this company has to be closed first so that it doesn't block Haarlem anymore. That's kind of interesting, I think. And then we have here the Antwerpen Rotterdamsche Spoorwagenmaatschappij, the AR. And that is kind of an interesting one too. It's basically the same, also like the B&O or the Oude Lijn here. It's more expensive though. It costs you $200. Interesting though, it comes with a 30% directorship. This one here, yeah, it has a 30% directorship. And I find it a little tricky to come up with a real strategy for this one, because, well, as I said, it's pretty expensive. $200 is a lot. Of course you can say, hey, I'm going to start it high. If I start this thing at 100, I basically get a share value of 300. So I make immediately $100. The revenue is not that impressive though. It's just $15. In addition to that, you are kind of, well, I mean, this is not a very promising area to be, right? This thing makes 10 until brown, basically. Then it goes up like hell. But until brown, it makes only 10. This off-board location also only makes 10. And you could work your way down here, but this will take some time. You got this stupid dot here. And the next city is here, which is not a terribly good one. Or you try to make your way around like this, but this is also a questionable thing. You might end up pretty isolated up there. So I really don't know what to think of this. Do I want to try to use it do I want to start it really high at 100 and see it as a long-term investment? But then again, the revenue is pretty low for that. Or do I say, hey, I'm going to start it maybe not so high, I don't know, try to open it as soon as possible and kind of make my way down? I find that very hard to say. I don't know if I like this company or not, to be honest. Might be also an option for a suitcase or something, but investing $200 in a suitcase company at the start of the game is also kind of question. On the other hand, it pays you a revenue. So, I don't know. Hard to tell. So, all the privates are sold now. Everybody ended up with one company. This guy holds the presidency of the, well, let's call it S, so the Hollandse IJzeren Spoorweg Maatschappij, and this guy holds the presidency of the NFL. He set the starting value, the par price, for 100. But here, it's really not so clear for me, because this is, I don't know, I think this is a terrible company, to be honest. I never know what to make of this, because, before green, or before brown, it has this terrible 10 value point here. If it wants to go somewhere else, I don't know, it has to go like this. Then it might hit the dot here in Zwolle, so it has a run of 20, okay? It could go here to Leeuwarden, which gives it also a run of 20, okay, great. These are both horrible. But if it doesn't go down here and then try to go to a bigger city or something, basically the only option is to work its way around like this. And excuse me, I mean, this is just, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tile placements. This is ridiculous. It's a disaster. It really is. I don't know what to do with this thing. Maybe the best thing is just to start it high. See it as a long-term investment, saying, okay, I paid $200 for this. If I started for 100 per share, I'm basically immediately making $100. And maybe that's okay. And then maybe later in the game, if it's in green or if brown is close, we might float this thing. And maybe someone else has kind of built a connection here toward Bremen or so. So maybe we can connect. But what happens if this guy simply cuts us off, man? Something like this could also be possible. I hate this company. I really do. I think it's a... But, if he would not have bought that, then everybody would have probably passed. And I mean, it's basically these two guys. He also has a company with 0 revenue. And then these two guys would have simply, or everybody would have made then profit, because they hold companies that pay a revenue. And eventually one of these two players would have to take the company anyways. So he did it, but I really don't know what to make of it. I mean, even if you look at the revenues here, this is the highest revenue you get. This is 15. I think compared to 1830, where companies pay up to, I don't know, I think the B&O even pays 30. This is a pretty lousy company. The only good thing is the 3 shares, of course. I mean, in the end, that can be a good certificate. but I don't know. So do you want to start it high or low? Good question. Well, the player is more, I got my personality sheets up there, right? This is more of a conservative player. I don't even know what that means in this context. Okay, so here's the thing. I mean, even if I started at 67, I will make profit. So, you know, I think on a 1 to 4, and nobody will invest in this piece of shit. Because it's so bad. It really is. Okay, on a 1 to 3, I'm going to start it low. Otherwise, I'm going to start it high. So we're going to start it high. It's the NFL. We're also going to start it at 100. And therefore, I won't be able to float this thing in the near future. But if I can, I have already 3 shares of it. I only need $300. So I need 100 additional bucks to be able to float this thing. And then I'm going to end up with quite some money. So maybe that's not so bad. But honestly, I think it is. Okay, so interestingly, this guy here who has now priority, we have a 6-player game. So what's interesting about this actually that he has the option to start a company, it seems. If he pars this one here, the KNLN, if he pars that one at 67, he might be able to buy 3. I think he can buy then 5 shares, and 1 share is already out there. So that would be enough to actually float it. Question is, does he want to buy it for 71 maybe? Well, he might maybe want to do that. So a little more money then in the company. That would be, gosh, he needs 5 shares to be sure he can start it. That's 355. Does he have that? Yeah, exactly. That's exactly the amount of money he has. So yeah, he's going to start it for 71, I guess. KNLS. He pays 142. $8 and 50. And then he should get simply the presidency here and he should be fine. So he has now basically 2 options. He could say, I'm going to invest in this company, but honestly, I don't want to necessarily have 2 shares and risk a company dump. And I will, because I'm sitting right behind him in priority order. So that would be a very risky investment. Probably not so much at that point of the game, but I couldn't hold these shares for long. I think that's for sure. There will be a big risk there. I mean, he only has 1 company. He could dump that for 80, but still, even if he says, okay, I'm going to buy a couple of trains, couple of 2 trains, and then buy in the company for 80, and then I dump it, you know, I might then sit on a company which has something like, I don't know, $300 or so, and just a couple of 2 trains. and that is something I want to avoid. So maybe I might consider helping these guys to start their companies. This one is crap. He cannot make a connection anywhere, so I don't want to invest there. This one is a good company, probably. It sits here in Amsterdam, and you know that's gonna make money pretty soon. So that's an option, but the problem is that the price is very high, and I'm sitting here on $270. So if someone doesn't start it too high, I'm gonna be able to buy 3 shares. And if I invest here, I can only buy 2 shares, and $70 are sitting here on the table, dead money. So maybe I can negotiate with this guy, and he would be in the best priority position from my position, right? I can usually react on him. Usually he will be behind me in priority. And he's got a lot of money sitting here. So maybe I'm going to say, hey, you know, maybe we can figure something out. Maybe I'm going to help you starting a company. And I could say, okay, I want to buy 3 shares. So I don't know, I got here 260. Divide that by 3. Oh my God, I can't do that. Well, I mean, that could be something like 82 or something. Yeah, so we could, for example, we could say, we could start a company together for $82. That's a good company. And maybe we can make some money there. And he's got 380. So I guess that's going to be enough for 4 shares. Yeah, pretty sure. So maybe we're going to do that. Let's figure that out. Okay, and actually these people come to an agreement. So he says, yeah, I'm going to help you starting the company. I'm going to buy 3 shares, and he's going to buy 5 shares, and we're good. So yeah, that's what he does. He starts the company at 76, and if I'm not mistaken, that will allow him to buy. So he needs, oh gosh, 5 times 70 is 350. 380, that's exactly what he has. So yeah, he starts a company at 76. The only question is now, which one is it going to be? And okay, let's take a closer look what we have now. And there's this one here, the ZHESM. That's not so bad. It starts in this rich area here. Eventually we might be able to connect those. Right now the problem is that here's Gouda, and so we can only run for 40. But if this does upgrade, it goes already to 50, and then let me see if can we do that in a clever way. We have to maintain these things, so we can either place this tile. No, we cannot do that. This is shit. This one is going to be the one we need. Yeah, we can do it like this. So that's not bad at all. What else would be possible? Well, we could start down here, make our way here to Breda, and then maybe try to go here to Dordrecht. There's a double O. Okay, you never know. Double O's are tricky. $40. We're gonna place it somehow like this. We might be able to make a connection to Rotterdam later. So that is also an interesting choice. If you place a token here in Breda, we can run like this, we can run like this. We could also make our way to Eindhoven. I think that's not a bad... That's not so bad either. Obviously not this, because there are no green tiles available yet. This one here, I don't know, it's not bad. But I think it's not as good as the others. I mean, if we can upgrade Amsterdam, it's gonna be okay, but there is the dot here, up Koude, in front of that. I don't know, I think it's not that good. And this one here, well, I mean, I think right now it's also not that great. Later it has a lot of options, but right at the start I think it's not necessarily the best one. So I think the ZHESM, this one here, and the SS seem to be the most promising ones right now. Oh, there's the NCS right here, Utrecht. And we might consider these two. So I think I want to roll a die here. I want to go with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and maybe even 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 10, maybe 11. So I'm gonna roll that one, and we'll see. Okay, so that is a 1, so we're gonna start the ZHESM. You know, I'm actually not so sure about this anymore. I really don't know if this is the way I want to play it. Because here I can only run for 40. And, well, I mean, maybe not. Maybe if I lay like this. Yeah, maybe I could do something like this, right? And then if I lay a token here, I can run for more. Okay, I think that will be fine. That would be okay, maybe. The problem is, in this game you cannot upgrade dots. So if I lay, oh yes, actually you can. Okay, then I think this is a solid choice. So yeah, we're gonna start that thing for 76. So it's kind of fun because the two companies are sold out, but there are still people who have quite some money. We got 105 here, got 50, 60, 75. Here it's not that much, but here is also still about 105 bucks. So yeah, maybe in the next, I don't know. This is a little frustrating for a couple of people. But okay, I mean, and of course the two companies that were started are floated now. So yeah, I'm going to take the sheets and then we can start the first OR. The first OR, and well, I guess nothing too exciting is going to happen here. I guess I'm gonna lay, for now, a tile just like this. Problem is I only have, this is gonna be placed here, I only have a single dot. That kind of sucks. But, so maybe that would have been a better choice for the start. But yeah, honestly, it's now a little late for that. So I'm going to actually place that second dot here in Rotterdam because I want to run 2 trains. That's very important for me. And I got to pay 40 bucks for that. In addition, I want to buy my 2 trains. So that's 160. So overall, look at these beautiful cards here. Overall, we're gonna have to spend 200 bucks for that. Oops. And this is it. And obviously we didn't operate. Share value drops. And that's it. Now it's these guys. And they are starting here in Apeldoorn. I can see the similarities to the pen in 1830. And, well, where do I want to go? So I cannot go here to Amersfoort because this is blocked. Might go to Utrecht, but this will take me a while. I could go to Deventer and then Ommen here north, which isn't so bad. Maybe I want to take that route. So yeah, I think I'm gonna do that. Gonna go here. And I'm gonna probably lay a token here so that I can run 2 trains in the next turn. So yeah, I might do that. Of course, there goes token here. But the good thing is I got a couple of them. So same here, I'm also gonna spend 200 bucks to get me a second token right here, and then 2 of these lovely 2 trains. And the share value drops. Nobody made any money. And we go into the next stock round. And actually I forgot who had priority. That's great. I think this guy bought the last share, so I think he has priority. I'm pretty sure about that. He bought the last share that was available, and therefore these 2 guys should have gone up because they're all sold out. Okay, great. Okay, and as usual I forgot to pay out the privates, but I did it this time. And I don't really think that anybody will do anything. I mean, the share value is dropped, so why would you sell your shares if you're just losing money here? So I think we can go immediately into the next set of ORs. And again, we get to pay out the privates. And we got 10 here, and we got 15 here, and I think down there another 5. Okay, great. So, and now we start making money. And of course, look at that. That's interesting. Okay, great. So now these guys will operate for the first time, and that means that this guy runs 2 train. He cannot lay track now. I mean, now he's locked, right? That's the price he had to pay for running the 2 trains there. And he goes for, well, it's 80 bucks. Yeah, so it's 8 per share. That means it's 32. For this guy over there, we got 16 there, 8 here, $8 over here, and he doesn't get anything, and we have 16 here. Okay, great. Share value rises. And then it's the KNLS, or the KNLS. And, well, I guess we're going to go north here. And that means now we can also run for 80. So, yeah. And we pay out, obviously. I mean, I could, if I laid another tile like this, for example, I could have run for 110, place a third token here. Yeah, if I lay a tile, a curved tile, for example, to Zwolle, and then place a third token here, I could have run for 30 bucks more, but I think that really ruins the company. I have to spend a third token, which cost me 100 bucks. I don't really want that token there, at least not now. And I had to spend another train. I don't think I want to do that. This is not worth it, in my opinion. So that was the second OR, and stock value goes up. And I got a feeling that now maybe some people will have the money to start a company. There's this guy here, for example. I don't know if he's eager to do so, but maybe he will. And yeah, I think there is he might also consider it. He wants to sell in his high value company here, the 110. So he needs to control a company to be able to do so. And yeah, he also has 70 bucks for a company. A private for 70. So he always definitely wants his own company as soon as possible. And therefore, because also the share values rise quite a bit, maybe we can see now the start of some other companies, but I'm gonna need a break. So we go into the next stock round, and this guy here has priority. And so he was the one who started the ZHESM together with this guy here, the president. And well, if he now sells shares, let's say he's got these two here, the 180 plus one here, brings him to about 260, and then he's got another about 150 here, so that's going to be 360, and then we got 410, I think 414, that's what he has. And that's going to be enough to start a new company here at 67. And I think that's what he wants to do, because he's got that super valuable private that he can then sell for 220, and obviously he wants that money back. So therefore, he's going to do that. He's going to sell all that stuff. And it's also a good thing to do these things before other people do it, simply because the value now drops, and then he would get less. Now he can make the funny decision who should go first in the next turn, right? Because he can decide in which order he wants to sell that. And well, I think it doesn't terribly matter for him, but he makes it like this. And then he gets 180, 262 bucks. If you look at that, it's kind of funny. Two of those, two of those, two of those, and two of those. There we go. And now we can start a new company. And let's see which one that's going to be. Okay, what's out there? Well, we have this one here, which is probably not bad. It's very much in the center of things. Let's see, we have company number 4. So where is that? Ah, that would be here. Ah, it's also interesting. That's interesting. We could make sure that this thing is placed exactly when we want it to place, because we can basically unlock that tile. So we might consider maybe starting this one here. There's a company that starts here. We could make our way here. Or to Salzbergen. That could be an option. But there is also private here that I can see now. So that blocks this route here. Maybe that's not so easy then. So the NCS takes a couple of tile placement till we can make a connection. Except these guys help us, which they might, but you cannot be sure about that. This one here, I don't know, it has this little dot right in front of it. That's something I don't like that much. So my tendency is either starting the SS down here or that one here, which is I think it's the AS. So, and I think I'm more considering the SS, to be honest. So I'm going to roll a die, and on a 1 to 4 it's going to be the SS, otherwise it's going to be the AS. And we're going to go with the AS. So I'm going to start that for 67. I cannot afford anything else here. And that means I got to spend 134 for the presidency. There we go. Okay, nice. So there are a couple of things to consider for him here. He doesn't have the money to, if he would sell his stuff, he couldn't start a company. He might have been able to if the share price would not have dropped. But yeah, that happened, so he can't. There's a risk too, because this guy will have priority because he's floating a company. I mean, it's possible that someone else also starts a company, but if not, and I don't really think so. Maybe he will, but I don't know. So if nobody else starts a company, then this guy will have priority. And the question is it still safe to hold 2 shares of that company then? Is it a big deal, you know? I mean, there are 2 trains in there. The 2 trains, he only holds a 20, a private company which is worth 20. So if things go really bad, he can still get another 40 out of it. And there's still then quite a bit of money in there. So I think this is not such a big risk. And it's still quite unlikely that he can do it in the next turn, because this company here, he might actually be able to buy in his private. The new company operates last. So I think we can be pretty sure that he will not operate in green. He can't actually. He cannot buy 3 trains anymore. So there is no risk that the additional $40 will somehow disappear from the company. And even if they would, it wouldn't be a disaster. So I think it's quite safe to hold on to that money. He can afford to buy 1 more share. And I think this time he's going to go with this. He knows the guy. He is in advantage here in priority order, so there is no problem with that at all. So we do have now a third company going. He managed to buy 60% of it. Nobody else helped him here. The company will not make any money this turn. So there's no real reason to invest right now. Okay, so again we go in the operating round, and yeah, these guys start operating. We're still in yellow, so they cannot lay track or do anything. They simply pay out $80. So I remembered to raise the value after the stock round because the shares were sold out. I also remembered to pay out the privates, and now the last company will operate, or the new company operates, and first of all they're going to lay a track here into the north, heading for Groningen or Bremen, these areas there, and then then I cannot run trains, obviously, the share value drops. But now I got the option to buy trains, and that's the thing. I mean, this player is extremely conservative. He has a 2 out of 12, which is the lowest possible value. So usually you might say, okay, he only buys a single train or something, but this is total bullshit in this situation, so I will not do it. I will follow the way you play these games, because this is, in this case, the only thing that makes sense. He's going to buy these 2 trains, and he's going to buy also immediately a 3rd train. Of course, that sounds maybe a little crazy because he cannot afford them all. Let's first see how much money he can afford, but he cannot run them all. That's what I wanted to say. But let's see first how much money that is. That's 160 and 180. That's 340. So yeah, we gotta pay for that. So that brings him to 400, and so he gets 160 back. But his goal is to push into green. That was his goal, which he managed to achieve, because right now, immediately, he can buy in his private company. And he is the only one, because his company operated last, he's the only one in this operating round who can do that. So he's going to do it. He's going to totally abuse his company for $220. that's how you play these games, right? You don't play these games to run a good company. This is 1830. You just want to make quick bucks here. That's what it's about. And by the way, there should be, of course, that type. Okay, so that means he enters now. He starts the operating round now with a good amount of money. And that gives him the option, if he sells down, this company is now garbage, right? It has $100, two trains and a 3 train. He cannot run all these trains. And I'm pretty sure as soon as the 4 trains rust, as soon as a 4 train is purchased, which will happen pretty soon because now all the players have basically enough money to start a company. I'm pretty sure about that. Then this company will sit on a 3 train and has $100, and that's a bad thing. So this will give him some trouble, but if he sells all these shares, he's going to be able to start a second company immediately in the next round. And you can only sell 4 shares. It's going to give him about 240 or something. But then he's got another 2, I don't know, 10, 20, 30, 40. So that's something like 470 or so. That will allow him to start, I'm not sure. God, I'm bad in dividing. At least I think at 76. So that gives him control over maybe 71, I'm not sure, but that will give him control over another 700, 750 bucks, and then he's in a little bit better shape. Next OR we're gonna have next time we're gonna have 2 ORs. We are in green now. So I thought, hey, maybe it makes sense to wait one more set of ORs to, until maybe I can start a company and then start it with a permanent train and not start at the moment where I have to buy the 3 trains or something. But I thought about that, and obviously that doesn't make a lot of sense, because especially not for him. First of all, there are only so many companies left to start. So we have the SS down here, we have the NCS here, the NRS here, and the NZOS there. Of course, there is then the guy here, and there is this guy here, and they also have their companies to go. So there is actually still quite a lot out there. So right now, maybe there will be time for another I'm pretty sure there will be companies left in the next set of ORs. Maybe not the best ones, but there will be still companies out there. However, I got that company here, which is worth $140, and I want that money because it's worth more in shares than it is as a private. In shares, I make revenue plus the share value increases, and I can get for 140, I can possibly get about 2 shares for that. Here, I make only a revenue of 10. So in shares, this thing is worth clearly more. Therefore, I want to start a company. So let's assume I sell all my stuff, which is what I want to do, because usually it's a good idea to start your company high, at least at that point of the game, I guess. So, let's see. So I can start a company at 76. So I'm going to sell all these. They give me 360. Share value of both of them drops by 2. And now we got enough money to start a company at 76. Again, we got to ask ourselves which one that's supposed to be. Now it would make sense to start this one, for example. This is now actually a pretty good one. We just have to make sure we can hook up there somehow. But that, I mean, there is a little bit of a risk. If this guy upgrades here, for example, and then places a dot there or a token there, we might have problems to get in there. So, that could be a little bit of an issue here. So I'm not sure if it's such a great idea to actually start here. So basically the question is, I'm still considering this one, and maybe that one. So I'm going to roll a die again, and it's hard to tell which one is the best. Maybe now this one is the best, because we can make a connection here very soon. So I would say on a 1 to 3, I'm going to start this. This I might start on a... I'm just got to be careful that nobody, you know, it would take a little bit to, if I can get here, I'm fine, and yeah. So I might start this on a 4 or 5 and that one on a 6. Okay, let's see. So it's a 4. So we're going to start the SS for 76. Let's grab a marker here. There we go. And we're going to spend 142 to get the presidency of this thing. And there we go, the Maatschappij tot exploitatie van staatspoorwegen. Sounds dangerous. And this player is clearly now regretting that he started this thing at 100. I mean, it's always a tough decision, and I think often it makes sense, but then people, the point is, in 1830, I think it makes sense to start it at 100, because you get a revenue of 30 out of the company. And people want to stop that, right? They try to shut the company down, and they got to help you float it, if you want it or not. This one here, though, just pays out a revenue of 10. So this is a different thing. People don't have a problem saying, okay, you just hold that, that company can rot with you. We're not terribly interested. I mean, it's a good company, you know, it operates here, but there are other good companies out there too. So we might as well say, hey, we don't help him. We don't care about him. He has that shitty private, die oude line, and hey, it's just an old railroad line, right? So that doesn't make a lot of money at all. So all he could do is he could continue investing in other players, and yeah, he doesn't have the money to start that thing. Maybe next stock round. I think then it might be possible, and maybe that's a good way. And that might be even a good time to start it, because then, if he starts it high, maybe, I don't think so, but I don't know if he can already buy the permanents. If not, if he has to start it with a 4 train, it's a bad time, right? So it depends. It might be I don't know. Honestly, I think in the next set of ORs there will be still 3 trains out there. Because this guy also cannot afford to start his company. He needs 300 bucks. I mean, maybe, let's see. He's got... The question is, does he want to, right? I mean, at the moment, he's not in the worst position. So maybe he just says, hey, I'm going to wait. This thing pays me 15 bucks. It's not great, but it's something. And maybe I want to wait a little bit. Right now, the company here makes no money at all, or very little, so maybe investing in others is a better idea for me now. On the other hand, you know, clearly, I mean, if you think about it, he paid 200 bucks for a revenue of 15 bucks, which is bad. He wants to start this thing as soon as possible, I guess. But, well, he's got 76 times 3. Let's calculate that. That's something about 228, and that's not going to be enough to start this company. He can't do it. Next hour he can, I guess. Well, he might simply buy another share of this guy, or does he want to do that? Yeah, why not? They seem to be more profitable down here than his own shares, so I think that's a good idea, and having a few shares in the bank pool is also not that bad. So this player here, he's going to sell the shares he can sell. Well, you know, you cannot sell the presidency, so he's going to sell these 4 shares to the bank pool. They didn't even operate once, so he loses money from that, but he wants to start another company immediately. He's got nearly 250 bucks here in his hand now, because from the sale of the private, right? So therefore, he's got to start something new. There's no way around that. Investing in other people's stuff is, I mean, there are only these 2 shares out there. Helping him to float a company, I don't know if I want to do that. I want to start my own crap. Maybe I get the option to even start a 3rd company if things go really well. I don't really know about that, but I wouldn't say that it's impossible. So that means now the share value will drop. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's now in brown, which means I can hold more than 60% of that. And the shares do not count against the share limit. And I get 260. So now I got about 450 bucks here. Pretty, maybe even a little, no, I think it's even 500. Yeah, I got 500 bucks here. That's pretty good. Sadly it's not quite enough to start it at 82, but I could start it at 76. Actually, I just checked that again, and my calculator said that I can actually start it at 82. So that's what I'm going to do. And this time I think it's kind of obvious. I'm going to take the NCS. I'm going to roll a die for that again. Maybe I will go with the NCOS, but I think I will only do that on a, well, let's say on a 6. No, it's a 3. So we're going to start the NCS here at 82. Great. So the market gets filled more and more. We have 2 additional companies now. They both floated, and we need the money, of course. So it's 500, 700, and 60 for these guys, and it's 820 for the NCS. And we go to the next OR, and I think, honestly, I think at that point I'm considering loading this up. I usually load up at the beginning of a stock round, but this one there was so much happening, I don't want to interrupt the game, but I think the video is now quite long. I don't really know that, but I think at that point I'm going to stop, and we're going to continue then with the first green OR basically. Okay, great. Hope to see you on the next video or on lonesomegamer.com. Bye.